So today we're going to be talking about establishing unique standards. I want to give you 5 principles as we dive into this, as I always do. I want this teaching to be principle based. This isn't theory. These are principles that apply, that we know are true and real. Here's one that we know. High standards are contagious. Look, today we're worried about things that are contagious, right? Everybody is walking around today worried about things that are contagious. Here's one thing that I know is contagious. There may be some things that are maybe debatable on whether they're contagious. Here's one thing I do know. If you set a high standard, everybody around you is going to step up to that high standard. It's going to be contagious because they're going to watch you as the leader. It starts with the owner. It starts with the leader. And if you do it, it will become contagious. Here's the second thing that I know to be true. Without setting a high standard, you leave yourself vulnerable to have to compete on price. Because if your standards aren't setting you apart from everyone else, all your other competitors, then the only thing you're going to have to compete on is price. I hear far too many people say, look, this is a very price competitive marketplace. I disagree. I think it's a price competitive marketplace because everybody who's in the market is simply doing average work, providing average service, providing average products and services, and not setting their standards to a different level. If you set your standards to a different level, you don't compete on price because customers are willing to pay more for excellence. It's why we don't always eat at a fast food restaurant. It's why when we take our significant other, our special loved one out for a nice dinner, we don't go to the Burger Shack. We go to someplace nice. We like fine dining. We're willing to pay more. We're willing to go on vacations to nice destinations because we are willing to pay for excellence, for folks who have their standards high. And when you think about those things that are memorable for you, I can promise you, if you look behind the curtain, they all have a high level of standard that they've set for themselves because we're willing to pay for it. Here's another thing I know to be true. The best companies start their company with high standards. They don't wait until they're big and then say, geez, what would it be like if we set our standards just a little bit higher? That's not how it works. So those of you that are on the call who have either just recently started your business or you're thinking about starting a business, it doesn't get any better time than this. This is a perfect time to set the standard and set it high, because later it's hard to change the culture. We're going to talk about that in a session, in a stage later on. But for right now, it's a no better time to do it and start out with your standard very high. Here's another thing I know to be true. People who are consider themselves to be top notch and they want to be on a winning team, they don't mind the challenge. They'll step up to the challenge. You give them the challenge and they'll achieve it. They'll probably prove to you that it can even be done at a higher level. We just have to position ourselves so that we set the challenge in front of them in a way that they can get it, they understand it, and for them it makes a ton of sense.